say is
you're a racist.
Right now,
you're a racist against Muslims, and you don't mind their babies being slaughtered.
Which, by the way, I recommend everybody bloody moves on from Hitler. It is ridiculous we talk about Hitler in relation to Trump. He hasn't murdered 12 million people. He's not going to.
Will you let me answer the goddamn question? Why do you have me on if you won't let me answer it?
Ben, don't gish gallop. Ben, I'm about to kick your ass. Don't gish gallop. Just listen to me. I listen to you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We got another debate. It's Saturday. You know you love it. Piers Morgan. We got Cenk Uygur coming in. We got Watchahak, which I don't know how exactly to say his name. I'm sorry if I mispronounce his name. So, you know, bear with me on that one if you guys will. But, you know, I love these debates. Y'all love these debates. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. We got an election coming up. And something I find very fascinating. At the end of this, you know, Piers Morgan asks everybody, you know, who do you think's going to win the election? And it's funny, the two right-wing pundits, they both say, oh, Trump for sure. Yeah, he's going to win it by a landslide. And the other two, Cenk Uygur, the two left-wing pundits, they say, yeah, we don't know, it's pretty close, which it is pretty close. But we can tell the momentum shift has shifted towards Trump. So we kind of, we're looking at a Trump victory here. We're hoping that's what's going to happen. So, you know, Trump's not the best guy out there, but he's way better than Kamala Harris and anything the Democrats have to offer. So we'll take what we can get. But right quick, you guys, I need you to do me a favor. Smash that like button for me and subscribe to this channel if you're new around here. I cover these debates on Saturdays, and I know people love watching these debate videos. And that's one reason why I do them. I do these for fun. My normal content is I report on news and the manipulations of the corporate press. So if you're interested in that, yeah, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. But without further ado, let's get into the debate.
You've been smirking there, but I've got to say, you tweeted several days ago you thought Trump might be heading for victory. When I heard this garbage line last night from Biden, and whatever the White House tries to do by putting an apostrophe at the end, trying to pretend he was talking about Hinchcliffe, it's very clear he said supporters. If you label Trump supporters as garbage, you are falling into exactly the same trap, as Ben Ferguson just said, that Hillary Clinton did, of wiping out an entire section of the American society as deplorable, garbage, whatever. And coming off the back of the absurd Nazi Hitler nonsense, what happened? My question for you is, what happened to the joy? Where's the joy gone here?
You see, I've still got the joy because I'm about to tell you how ridiculous you guys are. But first, let me acknowledge things that are true. So, number one, Biden shouldn't have said it. Look, my co-host on the Young Turks, Anna Kasparian, has been trying to get everybody to stop attacking the voters themselves. I think she's absolutely right about that. I've been guilty of that in the past, and we're trying to get past this. So Biden shouldn't have said that. On the other hand, you know Biden's senile. I mean, look at that clip that you played, stuttering up Puerto Rico, Delaware, and we're still... You guys said he was senile and should get out of the race. Now you're like, oh, no, he means it. He's perfectly cogent. He represents all Democrats. So
well,
that's
hang on.
By the way, don't say things like, hang on. Okay, here we go. Of course. Just to be clear.
Just to be clear.
Ben speaks for 2 minutes, and I always get interrupted.
No, you'll have plenty of time. But just to be clear, he remains the president of the United States. Joe Biden hasn't quit. He remains in the Oval Office running your country. So I'm sorry to jump in and point out that we may think he's senile, which I do, but he's still running your country.
Okay, Piers, you know my position on Biden. I ran against him because I thought he was senile and I thought it was ridiculous. But now all of a sudden you're pretending he's not senile. He is senile. It's like getting mad at somebody with Alzheimer's. What are you getting mad at him for? Well, that's ridiculous. But that's not the point, guys. Look, I'm granting you that he definitely shouldn't have said that. And Debbie Dingell definitely shouldn't have said internment camps because Trump never said that. Now, having said that, guys, are you really pretending to be offended after you've supported Donald Trump, who has said everything in the world about left-wing voters, radical left lunatics? Hey, here we go again. No interruptions. He's called them radical left lunatics, Marxist, communist, fascist. He said that we should use the military to attack the enemy from within. And then you're pretending that all of a sudden you caught feelings?
Not pretending.
MAGA, do better than that. You're being ridiculous and you know it. Now you're snowflakes. Now you're snowflakes. After all
right, let me bring,
incredible insults.
Hang on, don't all shout. Let me bring in Emily.
Now, to be kind of fair to Cenk Uygur right there, he does get interrupted a whole hell of a lot. And as soon as he starts talking, people start interrupting him. But, I mean, there is a very good reason for people doing this. Cenk Uygur comes in and he says some of the most absurd things I think I've ever heard in my life. He also comes out and says, yes, I agree, Biden shouldn't have said that, but then goes on to say that Trump does the same thing. Like, no. Trump talks about lunatic Democrat politicians. That's who Trump talks about. He doesn't say that Kamala Harris supporters are garbage, or they're fascists, or they're left-wing lunatics. Like, just craziness coming from Joe Biden. It was an absurd statement. They tried to walk it back. As a matter of fact, the White House may have broken the law by doing so, by changing around the transcript, by adding an apostrophe to act like, oh, Joe Biden wasn't done speaking yet. Oh, come on. He called Trump supporters garbage. We know this. He's made statements like this several times in the past. Right, with his State of the Union address calling, oh, MAGA supporters, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, the ultra MAGA. It's just nonsense coming from Joe Biden. And I think that is the point. I think that's the point. Sure, you might call, oh, well, he's just senile. Let him go ahead and say whatever. The dude's got the nuclear codes, for crying out loud, and he's the president of the United States. He shouldn't be making statements like this. He should be off in a closet somewhere. As a matter of fact, actually, let me walk that back. He should be in a nursing home at this point. Somewhere at his house. He should not be sitting in the president's seat, as a matter of fact. But he is, and he makes bonehead maneuvers. Trump doesn't do nearly the crap that Joe Biden has been doing. Joe Biden gets out there and talks actually about Trump supporters, and Trump talks about the left-wing nut jobs, talking about the politicians that want to destroy this country. Although they don't know they want to destroy this country, they don't realize that their policies will destroy this country. I think that's the hang-up. It's hard to say that somebody wants to destroy the country, a politician, right? They don't know that their policies will lead to that, and that's a big problem.
Kamala Harris had a pretty good start when she replaced Joe Biden. The polls were good for her. She had a good convention. The coronation, you can criticize it for being undemocratic, but it was a very good period for her. But she did it with a very positive mantra. It was going to be joy and hope and the promised land and all the rest of it. Exactly what Ben Ferguson just said. What I can't understand is why she's abandoned that from a political perspective to go full-on Trump bashing, given that for Hillary Clinton in 2016, when she did that, and you could even extend it to having all the pop stars like Beyonce and so on getting on stage with her stuff, it's exactly the same playbook of Hillary Clinton. We know that didn't work for Hillary. Surrounding herself with elite pop stars and hammering Trump 24/7 failed spectacularly. The most qualified person in presidential history lost to the least qualified person. So why would she abandon? I'm just genuinely curious, having watched this from afar, why has she abandoned what looked like a good strategy of hope and positivity to go full-on Trump bashing? Because the thing Trump relies on more than anything is being the center of attention. And right now, all anyone is talking about is Donald Trump.
Yesterday, if you saw her speech, her closing argument at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C., which was attended by 75,000 people, she just did that. She landed the plane. It was about forward-looking optimism. It was about restoring rights. And she put it in the context of history, of struggle. She talked about Seneca Falls. She talked about Stonewall. And she also made a compare and contrast. I'm so glad she did it at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C., because there are stakes here. There's not just two sides. This isn't Mitt Romney. This isn't John McCain. This isn't George W. Bush. This is her versus the man who refuses to admit that he lost the 2020 election, who incited a violent insurrection, whose MAGA supporters took a shit in the U.S. Capitol, who to this day, when asked, did he lose the election, he says no. To this day, he promotes the lie where a majority of Republican voters believe Donald Trump's lie that he won the election, that he lost. He is priming the pump for this type of hate. He has promoted neo-Nazi conspiracies against Haitians. He said he will unleash the military against United States citizens in the final 2 weeks of the election. This is a man who quotes Hitler saying that immigrants poison the blood. So what Kamala Harris is saying is, look, I'm going to take us forward. I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade. Who brags about overturning Roe v. Wade?
We win on election
Donald
day.
Trump. Who has died as a result of Donald Trump and Supreme Court justices overturning Roe v. Wade, women in Georgia, they did not have access to health care. Who said the most beautiful word in the American language, English language, is tariffs? Donald Trump said that at Joe Rogan. He said whale psychologist, Hannibal Lecter. Let's do economy real quick. When economic experts have compared both plans of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, overwhelmingly, who says the plan of Kamala Harris works better for the American people? Every single Nobel laureate
that
economist.
Goldman Sachs came out and said they were taken out of context.
Ben, just hold on.
Stop. Came out and said that what they said in the campaign trail was a lie.
Take it down. Ben,
I don't care about your other lies. I don't care about your other lies. But when you say this to the American people who are suffering,
there's no other lies. Ben, just relax.
Again, I know you're going to kick my ass, yada, yada. People can laugh.
No,
I'll go back to this.
It's already done. It's already done. Let me just finish.
Said that is a lie. They said that was not what their report said. And when you insult the American people and you tell them that the economy is great right now and Bidenomics is working when it's not working and they're suffering and hurting.
Let me just finish.
And then you say that they say her campaign plan is going to work better. Goldman Sachs said you're full of shit, to quote you from earlier.
Okay, let me just finish real quick. So go back, look at the facts, look at the I'm going to finish.
That's not.
Yeah, Nobel laureate say her plan is better. Wait, just let me finish.
Harris. They never said that. Y'all brought it up.
Give me 15 seconds.
They brought it up.
Give me 15 seconds. Donald Trump wants to have trade wars, tariffs. It'll increase costs for the United States. He wants to give tax cuts to the rich. He has no plan for health care, but he wants to destroy Obamacare. According to Project 2025, no real plan for Social Security and Medicare. Roe v. Wade. Listen, he praises overturning Roe v. Wade. So, yes, everyone's paying attention, Piers. This is why she's leading in the polls, the A-plus polls. This is why I believe she will win. This is why she had 75,000 people at the Ellipse and Donald Trump had 20,000 people at Madison Square Garden. And people are paying attention to Donald Trump, who yesterday said we live in a garbage can.
Okay, so as you can see, these people have to manipulate every single thing that Donald Trump does. And honestly, Donald Trump gives them no lack of content. He gives them loads of fodder to throw back at Donald Trump. But what they have to do, they have to take everything out of context, like what he just ended with. Oh, well, Kamala Harris had 75,000 people at the Ellipse, and Donald Trump only had about 20,000 people at Madison Square Gardens. Well, see, and what they're not telling you here is this. This is the capacity of Madison Square Garden. So what you are telling us is that Donald Trump sold out Madison Square Gardens. He completely filled it up in a D plus like 30 area, which is New York. Yeah, that's a Democrat stronghold that he sold out, as a matter of fact. So these people have to lie, like the Goldman Sachs thing. I read that article. As a matter of fact, I covered that article on this channel. And I was like, yeah, I don't buy into this. Donald Trump's budget is going to be vastly different than Kamala Harris's budget. So none of that really is factual. It's just their opinions. But my point to that was that, you know, Donald Trump's talking about coming in and cutting government spending. So you can't base, and this is what they did. They based their projections of each of the candidates' plans based upon current spending levels. Because generally speaking, they just continue current spending levels when a new administration comes in. Now, we know for a fact we've had a major spending problem. As a matter of fact, Joe Biden is spending in a $1.8 trillion deficit currently. Yeah, that's up from $1.5 trillion. Now, from Donald Trump's was less than $1 trillion. So Joe Biden has doubled the deficit, as a matter of fact. So I don't understand how they can base any projections on this, but this is what they have to do. As a matter of fact, they're constantly talking about, oh, well, Donald Trump said he's going to terminate the Constitution. Well, no, he didn't quite say that, did he? This is actually what he said. So with the revelation of massive and widespread fraud and deception in working closely with big tech companies, the DNC and the Democrat Party, which is the same thing, to be honest with you, do you throw out the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner, or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Our great founders did not want and would not condone false and fraudulent elections. He's not saying throw out the freaking Constitution. What he's saying is that when you have big tech and the DNC conspiring together to cheat to win an election, and they go around, they get lawyers to go around state to state to state to state to state to change the rules and change the laws to benefit Democrats. Yeah, that's a massive fraud. When they take news stories that would definitely alter the results of the election and they suppress, like the Hunter Biden laptop story. Yes, this is fraudulent. Okay? When you have fraud and you try to bring these court cases and the court says you don't have standing, well, hang on. What does that even mean? That means they throw these cases out, right? He's not party to damages, which, what does that even mean? That means Donald Trump doesn't have the right to bring these cases. It would have to be somebody defrauded by whatever evidence that he had. Now, all that laid to the side, that's not saying Donald Trump wants to terminate the Constitution. But this is what they run with. This is what they do. They take things Trump says out of context. They are the kings of doing this. And once again, I will say it, Donald Trump, there's no lack of content for them to take out of context. This man is a machine for giving them fuel to come after him. And it's kind of a good thing that he does this, because this has opened everybody's eyes to the manipulation of the corporate press. Has opened everybody's eyes. Him coming out saying fake news. And then we're like, oh, okay, so that the news reported this. Is it true? Donald Trump saying it's fake. Then you go and do some research and come to find out, oh, this is what happened. They took Donald Trump out of context, placed it with different context, their own made-up delusional garbage, and then ran with that story, which is vastly different than what actually happened. And many people are waking up to see this. Some aren't. Some want to stay sheep and just follow the corporate press narrative and say Democrats are the good people here and Republicans are evil. Christians are evil and bigots and all this other stuff. It's just a bunch of nonsense, y'all. Let's keep going.
Every single person they eliminate because they don't want peace.
Hang on. Let me bring in Vajjahat. Look, I want to bring this part of it to an end and go back to the election. I want to bring in Vajjahat for the final word on this part of it.
We've all gotten that point.
Yeah.
Okay, Vajjahat.
So listen, two things.
No, I have Jewish family. You're a liar.
No, let Vajjahat speak, please.
Okay. All right, two things. I hope we're all against anti-Semitism, and if we are against anti-Semitism, I want to remind everyone that Donald Trump said he will blame Jews if he loses the 2024 election. Said it publicly. He has also promoted anti-Semitic conspiracies of dual loyalty. He also has dined with one of the leading anti-Semit white nationalists, Nick Fuentes, right? And by the way, no one cares, no one condemns him, Ben doesn't condemn him. Number two, right now the government of Israel, Prime Minister Netanyahu, has openly...
I've condemned him for years. By the way, I condemn guys like Alex Jones
Donald Trump
attacking Senate at the Republican convention in 2016. So calm down. When there's crazies in my party,
supporting a guy who calls himself a black Nazi.
Can I just say? Okay, so
hold on. Let me say this real quick.
I want to talk about.
Let me say this. Do you remember when Alex Jones came onto your stage? Do you remember when he came on your stage in 2016 at the Republican convention?
Yeah.
And do you remember when he got in my face when I was defending you, saying, "Let him do his show, let him talk." Freedom of speech. He is a guest here. Treat him with respect. And then he wanted to, quote, kick my ass. I want to be clear. When my party is out of line and there's crazies in my party, I say get rid of them. Fuentes is a great example. Alex Jones is a great example.
Candace Owens.
Can I just...
Candace Owens.
I've seen Ben do that, by the way.
My turn. Your candidate for governor in North Carolina,
my turn, real quick.
The guy who calls himself a black Nazi.
I was calling...
No, but I want to be clear about that.
I called him out on Twitter.
Don't all talk over each other.
That's right, but Trump is still endorsing.
Hang on,
Trump is still endorsing a guy named a Nazi.
Let Vajjahat talk. But Vajjahat, you may want to just apologize to Ben for... Well, up to you, but I think you should.
So Ben, I appreciate you said that. I'm glad. I wish more people did. I have a question for you, and I just want to then wrap up with Netanyahu. Do you condemn Donald Trump dining with Nick Fuentes? And after Donald Trump was told who Nick Fuentes is, for the past 2 years, Donald Trump has refused to condemn Nick Fuentes. Do you condemn Donald Trump for that?
I said it when it happened. He should never be dining with him. I said that Candace Owens was an anti-Semite early on and took a ton of heat from my party. I'm not afraid of that. And I also said this.
So you said it. I just want to say clearly.
What I will say is this. Listen to what I'm saying.
You condemn him.
You asked a question.
Let him answer.
He didn't have anything to do with him afterwards, which actions speak louder than words. And he has disappeared from anything close to the Trump campaign. That's what I care about, is if you learn from your mistake. Now, you want him to say something on paper.
That's not a condemnation.
I don't understand the obsession with that.
That's
I
not
can
a
only
condemnation.
speak for me here.
Okay, let me pivot. Hang on. Let's end that note.
I don't take that as a condemnation.
I think we can all condemn Nick Fuentes. He's a repulsive individual.
Okay, so just to clarify that whole situation right quick, one thing they did not mention is that dinner that they're talking about where Donald Trump had Nick Fuentes, of all people, go to Mar-a-Lago or whatever. That Nick Fuentes wasn't invited. As a matter of fact, that was Kanye West that was invited and brought Nick Fuentes with him. Okay, Donald Trump had no idea who Nick Fuentes was. He never come out and condemned it. So what? Who cares? Donald Trump has no idea who Nick Fuentes is. Doesn't know that he's a radical right-wing extremist, racist, as a matter of fact. He's a white supremacist and should be condemned totally, but Donald Trump doesn't care about that because that's just tertiary. That's just off to the side. Nobody gives a damn about that, right? And that's not what Donald Trump is focusing on, but these people, they love to twist all that garbage around. They have to say, oh, well, Donald Trump said he's going to blame Jews. Well, yeah, Jews make up a large block of the voting population, as a matter of fact. Yeah, and if they vote for Kamala Harris, yeah, I would too. And once again, that was also taken out of context. He's not saying that they're bad people for blaming them for him losing the election. There could be a lot of blame on him losing the election. A lot of different blocks, voting blocks, if they don't vote for Donald Trump, would cause him to lose the election, would be to blame for him losing the election. Is that what you're going in on? That's what you're appalled by? Really? Are you kidding me now? No, they're not. They're being absolutely serious. And this is just great. And this is why the left is going to lose, because something they brought up earlier in that last section where Kamala Harris comes in and starts talking about this joy campaign, and she had the momentum, folks. We were all worried on this side, people that support Donald Trump. We were all worried, like, holy crap, she's got some support. She started raising hundreds of millions of dollars, which has translated into over $1 billion at this point, and look where we're at, folks. That's right. Kamala Harris comes in, starts saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Not really giving any explanation as to how they're going to do that. And that's when it started falling apart. She had all this momentum and screwed that all up. Screwed it up bad because she can't speak. That's her problem. If Kamala Harris could get out there and explain things to the American people, like simply just put it out there and stop giving us all this circuitous garbage. Well, yes, I'm glad you brought up the question about the border, because bringing up the question about the border is very important, because we need to know what's going to happen on that southern border, because that southern border, there's a crisis going on right now. And Donald Trump took down a border bill that would have blocked. And this is what she does. She speaks circuitously and then shifts to Donald Trump is evil. Donald Trump is Hitler. Donald Trump is an evil Hitler that's worse than Hitler. And Hitler looks like a Christian compared to Donald Trump. But it's just constantly Trump bashing. This is why we're going to win. People are getting sick and tired of it. They've been calling this guy Hitler for the past 8.5 freaking years, and people just don't see it. We've already lived under a Donald Trump presidency. Things were kind of good under the Donald Trump presidency. It was a net positive presidency. Did he make mistakes? Yes. He made a lot of mistakes. Don't like drone strikes whatsoever. Don't like foreign intervention at all. Don't like all the spending. Now, I will say that upon looking into this more, I was under the impression that Donald Trump spent a lot because he raised the debt, the national debt, by $7 trillion, which Joe Biden is on track to raise it by even more. However, He's pretty much right there at this point, just neck and neck with Donald Trump. You go and you look at the numbers. You look at the national debt from 2016 to 2020. It rose a little bit over 2017, 2018, and 2019, and then shot up 2020. And you might wonder, well, I wonder what happened in 2020 that would make the national debt shoot way up like that. A hell of a lot of government spending. Yet we had a global pandemic, and Donald Trump created a bunch of money to give to businesses to keep them afloat, to keep them from going under. And guess what? There were still hundreds of businesses go under. So even though he did this to help save the economy and get the economy back on track and hand over an economy to Joe Biden that was well on its way to recovery, inflation was only at 1.4%. We still haven't got back to that yet, Joe. Wonder why. All this government spending. Joe Biden comes in and just starts spending out of control. And it's been out of control ever since. Right? You might say, well, there was a pandemic still. Yeah, we were coming out of that pandemic. There was no need for all that spending. Okay, so I'll give anybody and everybody that, okay, sure, maybe for the first few months we need some spending, but yeah, we come out of the pandemic. How about you cut that spending back, buddy? But no, what does he do? He increases spending. That's right. The deficit spending by the government was $1.5 trillion pretty much for the first 3 years of Joe Biden's administration. And then this past year, it's gone up 1.8 for fiscal 2023. 1.8 freaking trillion dollars. That is insane. And we can't continue like this. All this printing of money. We can't continue like this. We look at what Joe Biden's administration has done, and we see that Kamala Harris would be a continuation of this. You think she's going to change? They haven't changed anything. She's been right there for all the major decisions. So, yeah, I don't think so. All the censorship of conservatives online has been insane. All the lawfare has been insane. It's just been an insane administration. As a matter of fact, Joe Biden is the reason why I am doing YouTube. The lies and the manipulations of the corporate press about what the Biden administration has done is the reason I am on YouTube. Right? My normal videos cover a lot of government malfeasance. That's pretty much what I do 90% of the time. I just do these debates because I love them, y'all. I love doing these debates, but I think that's all I got for this one, y'all. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about this debate down in the comments section. Is this not just some of the most entertaining crap that you've ever seen? I love these, and I love breaking them down because people love to lie, y'all. So y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. And don't forget to hit that like button on your way out. I appreciate it, and y'all stay legitical. Peace.